Good afternoon. I'm Philip Johnston, President of the CIO Association of Canada and the CIO for the National Research Council. I'll be your host today, walking you through a 90-minute exploration of digital transformation from the CIO perspective. What does that really mean? As we've seen during the opening days of the conference, transformation has its financial challenges, its technical challenges, a skills availability challenge, and a cultural challenge in that people are naturally resistant to change. Digital transformation from the CIO perspective is a discussion about how technology leaders can take those disparate challenges and develop solutions that they can weave into a strategy that helps drive the business forward. It's a different role for tech leaders. The position is no longer about simply keeping the lights on and the computers humming. CIOs and CTOs are now driving innovation and are more closely aligned with the business side of operations than ever before. The transition was happening pre-pandemic, but the past 18 months has definitely accelerated those changes. The panels and presentations organized and produced by ITWC put a leadership lens on some of those challenges and opportunities enumerated over the past sessions. But there's more. We will also be celebrating the accomplishments of our Canadian leaders who have surmounted those challenges and helped their organizations thrive. There is an opportunity to learn from their stories, so I urge you to pay close attention as they are presented CIO of the Year awards and inducted into the CIO Hall of Fame. More on that in a few minutes. There's a little housekeeping required to make sure you get the most of the time you're investing with us today. Most of the conference action takes place on the screen where you see me now, but there's a lot more to see on the platform. Scroll down. There's downloadable assets, newsletters, and events to register for, recordings, and a live social media stream. You can also find all the videos from the previous 3 days and some related articles by ITWC writers. If you are a senior leader, there's also the opportunity to take the 2021 Canadian CIO Census. To my left, or just below me on some devices, you'll see a live chat box. You can chat with other attendees here. Be sure to enter your name and check the terms and conditions box to participate. We've had lots of great discussions during the opening days, so don't let me down today. Also, if you hear something that's interesting and you want to share it with a wider external audience, I encourage you to go to Twitter and use hashtag DT Awards. You can check it out on the live Twitter feed below. Today, and indeed the entire conference, depends on the support of sponsors. And I can say this year, the support has been wonderful. Our platinum sponsor is UKG Canada. Our silver sponsors are IBM, Ramani Street, Ring Central, SAS, and Shiny Docs. Our presenting sponsors are Citrix, Jabra, and Silver Peak. Now on to the heart of today's session. If you were here yesterday, you would have heard a lot about the practical challenges and opportunities of AI and data. Our first speaker of the day is going to build on those insights by applying the leadership lens. Jason Cassidy, CEO with Shiny Docs, is going to suggest many of us are underachieving with our approach to data. Jason says we need to take data as seriously, perhaps more seriously than we take our own health. Jason, can you please give it to us straight?
Regulations like GDPR and CCPA, incidents like Colonial Pipeline, JBS, and Fujitsu have created renewed interest in how organizational information is currently being managed. Did you know that only 100 gigabytes of data was hacked at Colonial Pipelines that threatened fuel flow to the entire eastern United States? It was only 100 gigabytes. Combine that with the Great Resignation, a move to hybrid work environments, and increased focus on agility. You've been faced with impossible challenges and made the best possible decisions given the incomplete and ever-changing information. But what would you do if your decisions were not based on incomplete data? Are you ready for innovation that is driven by your data? We all know we need to exercise more, eat right, stop unhealthy habits, get enough sleep, While some of us live like this, many of us just don't. Let's look at the fitness of your data. A good fitness program is a series of habits. With data, your understanding and action should be approached as an ongoing program, not as a project. It doesn't make sense to work out once every 5 years to get your body fit. Why are you doing a data cleanup and migration every 5 years? With data fitness, data becomes a strategic asset. As the products, solutions, or services are best informed with the right data for the right people at the right time. So how do you get started with your fitness program? Well, before every new fitness program, the first thing everyone recommends is to go to your doctor. You need an assessment before you start anything new. The same holds true for your data. How much data do you have? Where is it? What is redundant, obsolete, trivial? Who's using it for what workloads? Your data fitness starts with a good understanding. Your physical fitness does not start with buying a new fitness toy. When you go to Nike, they'll sell you a pair of shoes and say, just do it. When you go to Nordic Track, they'll sell you a treadmill. For data fitness, if you ask a cloud vendor, they will sell you cloud storage. If you ask a repository vendor, they'll sell you a repository. We strongly recommend, before you head down the migration treadmill, ask yourself, what is my data fitness? Where's my data? Who's using it? What did the data fitness assessment tell me about how I should plan my data fitness program? When you lack data fitness, the costs are high and increasing every day. COVID has completely upended organizations, shredding the best laid plans and proven to be an absolute wrecking ball of disruption that's exposed some pretty staggering gaps and vulnerabilities across the enterprise. The past year has necessitated countless tiny concessions, ensuring the continued productivity of a newly remote workforce, exposing security models vulnerable to hackers, and a staggering increase in the volume, variety, and velocity of incoming information. This last year has been nothing like business as usual, and the responsibility has no doubt weighed heavily on many of you here. IDC predicts that by 2025, 175 trillion gigabytes of new data will be created. Right now, some data professionals are finding data volumes are growing by 63% per month. You have seen the next great applications come and go. Your current migration effort to a repository or cloud that's taking months of effort, dozens of false starts, and countless meetings will likely not last 5 years before you change again. You just know there'll be another bleeding edge application, another must-have version, another technological leap that will truly drive digital transformation. And it is your data understanding, your data fitness, that will make you resilient throughout these digital transformation iterations. There is a light at the end of the tunnel in regards to COVID. We are still far from the status quo. You need to be sure you're providing employees with the tools, technology, and knowledge they need to be agile and innovative. Your employees and customers tend to hate new applications and anything new that they have to learn, but they love having access to their data. Make sure your data fitness comes with user first, data first, applications last. We don't want you to get rid of your applications. Just like your treadmill, your applications tend to do what they're supposed to do when well equipped. We just ask that you acknowledge that applications are part of a holistic ecosystem that benefit from informing each other's data. CIOs can ask for common data set across applications from the vendor community, but it's just not going to happen from any single repository vendor. So build it yourself with a first step of data understanding. In the meantime, you need to ensure your data is not locked into individual applications, becoming the gatekeeper. No one application will ever hold a single version of the truth regardless of what the vendors insist. Instead, it's going to be many applications across a range of businesses. Data fitness does not care what tools you use, as long as you understand, secure, and action the data. And we are drowning in data. How many personal fitness New Year's resolutions fail? Well, Gartner says 83% of migrations to new repositories fail. While most enterprises have less than 1% of their data under management, when you consider applications, databases, documents, files, and media. Many of us have invested millions in content repositories where all the data is supposed to go. Often the data never finds its way there, and if it does, that's where the data goes to die, endlessly taking up storage space. Whether you call it master data management, data virtualization, knowledge graphs, or a metadata-driven architecture, what data fitness boils down to is understanding your information. Some companies like Facebook and Google and Apple have figured this out. For your public and personal information, they've created massive knowledge graphs that understand and make your information available to their business processes. They did not put everything into a single repository. They discover, action your information wherever they find it. Data fitness acknowledges the riot of applications that every organization relies on for customer acquisition, asset management, information governance, resource planning, and more. And knowing that you need insight across all applications to truly have a complete picture of your information. A picture that will truly drive innovation, productivity, and strategic direction. While we have a good sense of what is in our ERP systems, do we really know what's in file shares, email, and shadow IT repositories? The average enterprise underestimates their total data by half or more. That leaves a lot of risk in our environments. Data waiting to be found by those who should not have access to it. Whether it's executive, staff, or customer personal information, redundant, obsolete, or trivial data that has no permissions attached to it. It is possible an unscrupulous attacker has already breached your data and is waiting for the right time to strike. Are you ready?
Thanks, Jason. That's solid advice. Connecting data will make all the difference. I know that for myself at the National Research Council, trying to create a comprehensive data strategy that will enable researchers to be successful is something that I'm going to be working on over the next year or two. Next, we're going to present our first award of the afternoon, but just a little bit of a backstory first. ITWC and the CIO Association of Canada have partnered to recognize technology leadership at the senior level since 2014. Each year, we ask the community for nominations of worthy individuals in 4 different categories. And those submissions go to a team of independent judges who review them diligently and then determine a winner. It's not easy. It's not an easy task to look at so many individuals who have done amazing things and come up with finalists. But as I can testify as a judge myself, it is a gratifying one. Here's a tip of the digital hat to my colleagues on this year's judging panel. First off, Gary Davenport, past president of the CIO Association of Canada. My friend, Jim Love, CIO and Chief Content Officer at ITWC. Hamza Tarani, Chief Technology and Digital Officer at Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. Elizabeth Calder, Consulting CIO. Samantha Alicio, 2020 CIO of the Year, Public Sector. Catherine Chick, Senior VP of IT at Canada Goose. Thomas Wardman, 2020 CIO of the Year, Not-for-Profit Sector. It's obviously gratifying for the winners to earn the accolades of their peers, but the winners get more too. The CIO of the Year award earns them induction into the CIO Hall of Fame. They get a 1-year membership in the CIO Association of Canada. They get a beautiful framed certificate of themselves on the digital cover of Canadian CIO. And this year, thanks to the support of Jabra, all of the winners receive a Jabra Panacast with table stand plus Jabra Speak 710 speakerphone worth $1,000. That will nicely outfit a boardroom or a huddle room once everyone is back into the office. With that said, I turn the floor over to Bruce Hanley of Silver Peak to recognize the winner of the CIO of the Next Year Generation Award winner.
As Silver Peak helps companies transform by supporting new edge strategies, new security architectures, and the implementation of AI-supported automation, we are encouraged to see organizations placing a premium on innovative thinkers with their information technology departments. Our 2021 Next Generation Leader is an excellent example of that new innovation-first mindset. According to the senior leaders that encouraged her nomination, in just a few months, our 2021 Next Generation Leader helped the pension management organization bring innovation culture into its staffing, business planning, and common practice approaches. On behalf of Silver Peak, ITWC, the CIO Association of Canada, and the technology community, I am pleased to announce that the 2021 winner in this category is Rita Lazar-Tippy, Director, Information Insights, Innovation, and IT Operations with Alberta Pension Services Corporation. Congratulations, Rita.
Rita Lazar-Tippy, Director of Information, Insights, Innovation, and IT Operations, leads the Data Management Program at APS. The program has 5 major components: access to data, data quality, governance, analytics, and information management. With these 5 pillars in mind, Rita created an innovation working group that is delivering workshops to every staff member to help change the organizational mindset when it comes to digital transformation. Rita recognized that APS needed a common language because understanding terms, methodologies, and tools is essential for that company-wide buy-in. Through these workshops, Rita is also introducing concepts such as developing a growth mindset, culture hacks, the importance of design thinking, facilitation, and think tanks. Rita says it's been great to see so many different departments engaging with each other to this extent for the first time.
It's enablement of the technology, but it's almost the technology, if you will, is the hammer piece. It's really around the change management as well. It's the people and the process and making sure that those are all in tandem. And so those pillars are around the data access, which has a self-serve capability, so it enables all of the different stakeholders. It's also around the data quality, because that's such an important piece. Just because you have the data and accessibility to it doesn't mean it's of good quality. So the business decisions you're making might not be accurate.
And more recently, Rita is now using information management and analytics tools to develop a 360-degree view of the organization. A big component to this is the integration of some of these tools into the contact center to streamline voice data conversion. This newfound data resource is supporting improved call quality reviews and member sentiment analysis. In 2020 alone, over 3,000 hours of productivity efficiencies were harvested through these efforts. A prominent example was the use of robotic process automation to greatly reduce the manual handling of the mail-out of member annual statements. This employee-sponsored initiative, in its first year alone, saved $50,000, and in its second year will likely see savings triple that.
I'm humbled to have been chosen for the Next Generation Leader category under the CIO of the Year award, and thank you to the selection committee and the IT World Canada. I wouldn't be here without the great support, passion, dedication, hard work, and the art of the possible mindset from the incredible ACE team members, Darcia, Shanti, Jared, David, Martin, Ron, Sarah, Sven, Larry, and Dina. And thank you to the Innovation Working Group, IWG team members, Colby Uria, Amanda Gersh, Brittany, Raj, and a special thank you to Melissa, who shares my passion for the innovation portfolio. I would also like to highlight my peers and their help and support, my boss David and the APS leadership team, APS board members, Brenda in particular for the support and encouragement. Thank you for walking the journey alongside me and helping me make my passion a reality. I look forward to the continued work on these important initiatives.
Congratulations once again to Rita Lazar-Tippy for earning this year's CIO of the Year award, for the Next Generation Leader category.
Congratulations, Rita. I've known you for 4 or 5 years, and this is a very well-deserved recognition. I know your colleagues with Alberta Pension Services are here with us today. It'd be great to see them post some congratulatory messages in the chat. If they could, that'd be awesome. Don't forget again, if you want to post something on social media, please use the hashtag DT Awards. Next up, we have a very timely panel discussion. Timely, I say, because it's about building on your pandemic-inspired progress. We may still hear about virus variants and shedding, but fingers crossed, overall, it seems the world ship is pointing in the right direction. And while the pandemic was horrible in so many ways, there was a silver lining. It pushed digital transformation faster and harder than anyone could imagine. IDC reports are fond of indicating that there has been more transformation in the last 16 months than in the previous 10 years. The question now is, how do we keep the innovation momentum building? When you've got a question like that, you've got to ask the experts. Just a few days ago, RingCentral Regional VP for Canada, Kevin Krampulek, met with an all-star panel of tech leaders and posed that question. Here are the highlights of that discussion.
I'm delighted today to be moderating the panel on the topic of today's session, which is maintaining momentum in a digital transformation. You know, the audience is extremely fortunate today to hear from such a talented group of thought leaders across various industries, from construction to finance and to sports and entertainment. It's been astonishing on what we have achieved from a post-COVID that hit us back in March of 2020. And if you look at it, IDC and Gartner has said we've done more in the category of digital transformation in the past 16 months than over the past 10 years. This group on the panel today believe that the dust is not settled and there's still more work ahead of us. I'd like to start with just kind of looking in the rear view mirror. Let's look back in the past 16 months and share with us, some of your lessons learned, some of the challenges that you and your organization had to overcome when COVID hit.
We were always a digital business, so it was easy to handle that, change to working from home and so forth. But the acceleration of consumers' behaviors and the market volatility and everything that kind of combined together to really accelerate growth in our business. And so our challenge was more one of accommodation of that growth. So before the pandemic, there would always be people working from home. So we had always had flexibility in that regard. The IT group has been global from a talent perspective for over 10 years, which means that, we're used to collaborating and operating, virtually. Other areas of the company were more inclined to be in the office. Some of the, the service groups and some of the back office operational groups were more inclined to be in the office. But the capabilities to work remotely were always there. But, it's one thing to kind of have all of that in place and expect it as a BCP scenario in the event that the tower was not available versus BCP essentially being the norm with everyone remote. So we were able to pivot to 97% remote within a week.
We went about 600 people working at home overnight because of the nature of our business and the fact that we had a hockey game in our arena just a few days before things were shut down. We had to pivot very, very quickly. So it was a credit to our teams and the talent that we have, but also the fact that we were working on being a digital first business in all things that we do for several years. We worked very quickly to figure out where we could pivot to support our partnerships business, supporting our fans, obviously, remotely, many of which were done through a host of digital initiatives. We built a platform called Digital Arena, which is the digital manifestation of being at a sports event. We launched those for the Raptors and for the Leafs of TFC, and in fact, other NBA teams have actually used now our technology and licensed it back from us. So that's been exciting. As we built from there, it's been all about how do we actually build the future of the sports and entertainment experience post-COVID.
As a construction company, our lifeblood is men and women in the field, continuing to build projects. Additionally, we have people certainly that work in offices. So being a cloud-first company for the last 7 years, we were well prepared in terms of remote work. That being said, we had a real focus on maintaining continuity on job sites. And so we had to really enhance our safety practices, keeping people safe, distanced. The focus really shifted to be, how do we become more risk adverse? So it wasn't necessarily a technology problem for us, more of a keeping people safe practice.
What would be some of your recommendations to those organizations of how you get a culture of cloud first mentality?
Shifting to the cloud really enabled us to focus more on business facing issues than keeping servers and infrastructure running. So in a nutshell, crawl, walk, run, start with something small, get a quick win, and continue to build on top of that, and get your people involved early and often, make the ideas theirs, and get quick wins and continue to build on them.
Doesn't matter if you're financial services or construction or sports and entertainment, as you can see from the comments from our group here today. So I think we got to all really work quickly to get the value added components of IT helping to drive the business and the more commoditized functions off the plate of the IT professional so they can really help to power the business. I think it's a massive ROI for anybody who's not there, and a real opportunity to, as you said, to take information technology as a function out of the back room and really make it front and center in terms of helping to drive a business strategy and revenue and growth goals.
How about yourself, Christine? Did you face the same thing? You've been cloud first, you've been agile first. Has that always been the culture within Questrade, and did you have to shape it?
It's definitely had to change over time. It's like, as in any form of change management, you're looking to have early successes. You're looking to build on those successes, get some wins behind your belt, and continue to expand. So, when we embarked on our journey, we really focused on internal talent. How do we kind of enable that from a skill set perspective? And we essentially just put in a mantra where any net new build was a cloud native build on GCP, the fully microservice based, and we just continued to build after build, get that momentum, have those successes, more and more learnings for the talent as we went. Where necessary, we would augment ourselves, but not with the army of consultants that other organizations tend to do, but more those who could become integrated with the team, share their knowledge, and then leave.
We've done tremendous things in a very short period of time. And most organizations had a digital transformation roadmap and initiative that was going to be done over 3 and 5 years, and they got crammed into most of it being done or started in that journey in the past 14, 15, 16 months. And so if that was done because of fear and it was done because of necessity to enable your business. So the question to the panel is, what does the next 16 months look like?
It was an opportunity certainly to get folks that weren't so engaged in the digital age. They were, for lack of a better term, forced to use some digital tools like video conferencing, for example, that they may not have been super excited about. But it was a necessity to ensure that collaboration continued. So that was an example of a pressure that forced people to get into a zone of uncomfort. Digitization in construction has been non-existent since construction existed. But for the last 10 years, it's really started hockey stick. The last 3 years, it's really started hockey stick more. And so we're already in the throes of extreme digitization in our industry. The pandemic, if anything, we had people working longer hours because they weren't commuting and likely working through lunch. So I think as the pandemic subsides, some of those pressures will come off. So business as usual for us, and keeping pedal to the gas on driving business technology initiatives forward to advance and digitize our business.
We work fast. We work like a startup in a lot of ways, and really, have that culture and that DNA in our people and in our organization. And we're a fast-paced environment in sports and entertainment as it is. So I think during COVID, what's happened is that everything's become digital. And so everything from a fan perspective and from a revenue perspective and external opportunities that we've created, and a platform business that we've created. I mean, those have all been accelerated, I would say, by an order of magnitude. We were already doing them. If COVID had never come around, we'd have still done them. I think we would have more than likely gone 20 or 30% slower, possibly. But on the other side of going faster is making sure that we have some way to establish the new norm around how people will work. I don't think we're all going to be in traffic and in offices, 5 days a week and however many hours everybody works, which is, everybody here I know and their teams work like crazy. But in some version of that, when we return, there'll have to be more of a balance to, work life and home life, and how fast people are working in the pandemic at home, not having a break.
What do you think work looks like in a hybrid world?
For the first time in 20 years, we spoiled ourselves with very beautiful new offices. Just as the pandemic. So we were in construction of, these new offices that had all the bells and whistles and tons of great collaboration spaces. And now we obviously recognize that, it's never going to be kind of what it was. And at the same time, we've grown so much, we wouldn't have a seat for everybody anyway. So we have, moved to a hoteling model. We are giving our employees the freedom to, do what suits them, work together with their teams and collaborate and make decisions on when it makes sense to be together for a brainstorming session or a meeting or a conversation versus, when they prefer to be remote. And we've also, are moving away from any notion that our employees have to be within commutable distance to an office. I think the biggest challenge that companies are going to face with continued innovation and continued acceleration of digital transformations is a talent challenge. The competition for tech talent is higher than I've ever seen it. It was always high, but now it's accelerated dramatically. And I think that's going to definitely be the biggest limitation for companies. They may be ready, they may be willing, they may have the courage to go and do it, but then you need to have the talent to go and do it. In our organization, I have hired 140 new tech people over the past 12 months, all, onboarded and working remotely. But it's nowhere near, the number that we would like to have hired in that same 12 months.
What has changed in terms of the way you interact with your customers and any demands from your customers as a result of kind of this acceleration of digital transformation?
One of the key things that we needed to do, because you can't have face-to-face conversations with clients, is think of new and creative ways for people to meet people and understand the talent and the skills that we were bringing to those customers. So some of our districts got really creative and created video resumes, if you will, of not only themselves, but project visuals and how we would work with them and facilitate their needs to meet the product that they wanted. Construction is a really personal business. It's a personal business from the perspective of you've got to be on site to construct. And it's a personal business in the sense that relationships and partnerships are key. We hire a lot of subtrades to get work done. And it requires a lot of collaboration, a lot of logistics work, aside from the upfront business development. So, the digital tools enhanced beyond video conferencing, they really went down to the proposal level as well. And so that was a change of thinking for some folks in our business, but a necessity in order to make sure that people had real clarity in the quality of the people, product, and service that we were going to bring to bear.
We built an event streaming platform this past year, and a large majority of that functionality was used for games and for second screen capabilities for the Leafs and Raptors, which was launched this year, which is really exciting. We also run charity galas with our teams. We have the Raptors City Social, and for the Leafs, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs Gala, the Blue and White Night, and a lot of money gets raised for fundraising for some really great causes. And if you can imagine a fancy ballroom with hundreds of people and our athletes and everybody's there and enjoying a great night. And we thought about, what happens now in COVID. And so we actually pivoted our platform that we built to actually use as a live events platform. And so we now have had 2 sellout. Basically, we sold both of those same nights out, but we weren't in a physical space. In fact, we actually accommodated more people. And so the same amount of people came, there was live videos streaming, and people were actually, able to hop into different rooms. And so as we come out of COVID and think about the new normal, I think we're going to have an and strategy. So it'll be like physical events, and we'll have some digital components of these things so that more fans can get involved, and that we can have, a greater impact on some of the charities that we support.
What's important to you as you look at the future? What's needed in terms of raising digital transformation?
Strength always comes from inside out. I would really focus on a couple of things. One would be clarity of the problem that you're looking to solve, right? So, looking through a highly customer-centric lens, what is it that you want to get from the transformation? What does success really look like? It's one thing to have the intent and the desire and the willingness to fund. It's a totally different thing to have the capability. So how do you build that capability in-house and be an attractive employer for tech talent? Because it's a bit of a vicious circle in that you need to be best in class at tech to attract best in class talent.
Well, we can sit back and say the pandemic might change the way we work. I think in a lot of cases it won't. I think a lot of things will rebound faster than expected. Well, some jobs can and will continue to be done remotely. I think, and I know in my career history that the best results come from continuous collaboration with people doing what people do, and that's being social and interacting. And I think that's a critically important part to any business.
So for me, it would be let your strategy drive your structure and approach. I mean, I think it's easy to start reverse engineering a bunch of IT stuff and technology stuff. And frankly, in 2021, not to trivialize it, but that's the easiest part of all of our jobs. The technology and enablers exists out there. And if you've got, the right strategy to take advantage of some of those things, where you can really help to drive and power your business strategy and tether yourself to helping to grow your organization. I think that's one big one for me. The second one is go faster. And I think too often in corporate cultures, corporations end up working too slow, too much red tape, too much governance. And so find ways where you can collaborate with your peers to work faster.
As to kind of mash it all together, I kind of heard three trends out of this. Number one, all of you have been leaders in your space because of how you look at innovation. All of you mentioned the importance of your people and your talent. I love the concept of go faster and be bold, right? We need to forge new passes and have the courage to go and challenge the way we do business, and status quo is not going to get us through this. So with that, we're going to conclude the panel session today. Thank you for the time.
Thanks to a wonderful panel. Let's hope a lot of their ideas get widely embraced by all of you. It's time for another award presentation, and then we'll test your digital transformation trivia skills with a quiz sponsored by Citrix. I turn the microphone over to Pat Phelan, VP of Marketing for Ramini Street, to announce the CIO of the Year for the not-for-profit sector. Pat, over to you.
I appreciate that introduction, Philippe. Ramini Street is very pleased to support the conference this year and to present the 2021 CIO of the Year award for the not-profit sector. Technology is changing healthcare at an astounding pace. Working with a trusted healthcare safety advisor, one of the impressive accomplishments of our CIO of the Year in the not-for-profit sector was the development of a strategy to strengthen her organization's cybersecurity posture. That's a lot to say, but not only was this achieved within 18 months, but it saved her organization over $20,000 a month and resulted in new policies for cloud solution security assessments, open source software, external storage, and file sharing solutions. In addition to all of that, in addition to engaging her staff in design thinking and innovative projects, this CIO has led the creation of a new data warehouse. She helped deploy a sophisticated business intelligence tool, and she enabled capabilities in machine learning. So this year, congratulations go to Jennifer Qualietta, Vice President, Performance Excellence and Information Services with Healthcare Insurance Reciprocal of Canada. Let's take a look at a video highlighting her accomplishments.
Jennifer Qualietta was tasked with a major challenge when she was brought in to fulfill an inaugural role at the Healthcare Insurance Reciprocal of Canada, or HIROC. Understanding the importance of becoming a future-ready insurance provider for healthcare organizations, HIROC created a Performance Excellence and Information Service position in 2019. Jennifer, boasting significant experience in healthcare, jumped on board and started working on a roadmap.
I was brought in to really shape what that roadmap would look like. And so at the start of HIROC's 2019 strategic plan, there was a stream of work that was developed to implement a digital and data plan in order to support a more agile organization. Outcomes included ensuring staff are empowered with easy access to reliable information and actionable insights, supporting HIROC to enhance its data culture, where business decisions are driven by data, analytics, and evidence. And finally, that subscriber decision-making would be able to be improved through these types of enhanced capabilities.
One of Jennifer's major accomplishments at HIROC so far has been the creation of a cybersecurity strategy. She says this involved reviewing contracts with existing vendors and developing a comprehensive plan for managed cybersecurity services. And on top of that, Jennifer has also conducted the first ever mock disaster recovery test ensuring business continuity in the event of a cyber threat. She hosted HIROC's first cybersecurity webinar with over 250 attendees. She even established a new advanced analytics department that realized $500,000 in savings annually from an external service contract. She streamlined her department's budget to provide the same services and functions with over $300,000 in savings, and she created the Risk Management Guide on Artificial Intelligence, which has become one of HIROC's top 5 downloaded resources.
For me, this award is really a tremendous honor because, as you know, my knowledge and my background really stems around the healthcare sector, and in particular around healthcare policy, governance, strategy, quality, and operations. And so this role for me was a personal growth challenge, as I, had a steep learning curve to understand the techno speak, but also to support staff in designing the future for HIROC. And this was my first time in this role, and is a true testament that anything really is possible as long as you put your mind to it. And this award, in its true essence, is a perfect example of when a high-performing team supports its leaders in all aspects of the role, and a team that I'm really proud of.
Congratulations once again to Jennifer Qualietta for earning this year's CIO of the Year award for the not-for-profit category.
Congratulations, Jennifer. And thank you for all of the notes in the chat and on social media. We love to see the audience engage, which is why we are going to put you to work right now. We have a quiz sponsored by Citrix, and participating is easy. The question will appear on the right-hand side of the screen or below the window where I am right now if you are on a mobile device. If you're in full screen mode, you won't see it, so take yourself out of full screen mode and play along. It'll be fun. If you haven't already entered your name and accepted the terms on that chat box, please do so now so you can participate in our quiz. Are you ready to get clicking? We'll see the results live, so you'll be able to compare yourselves to your colleagues in the audience. Let's start with a test question. Citrix is A, a new flavor that President's Choice is adding to all its food options. B, the Greek letter that comes after alpha and beta. Or C, a software company that provides cloud computing technologies. Of course, the answer is C. Citrix is a software company that provides server, application, and desktop virtualization, networking, software as a service, and cloud computing technologies. And they are a sponsor of this quiz. So let's get started for real. Question number 1. As a result of COVID-19, CIOs are now taking A, center stage, B, extended vacations, C, a wait and see attitude, or D, all of the above? Answer A, center stage. I'm sure that's the case for many of you today. While COVID is still a factor in planning, Gardner says CIOs are now focused on building resilience against future disruptions and preparing for rebound and growth. Next question. Results of ITWC's 2020 CIO census indicate that A, the majority of Canadian CIOs are optimistic about the future. B, only 3% are pessimistic about the future. C, digital transformation is accelerating in ways never before imagined. Or D, all of the above. So the answer is D, all of the above. That was a question based on the 2020 Canadian CIO census. The 2021 version is in the field now. The census can be found on the platform, and we invite you and senior tech leaders in attendance to fill it out. Question number 3. Despite potential budgetary constraints, CIOs are targeting more IT dollars to keep the lights on, B, stockpile plywood for future renovation projects, C, grow and transform the business, or D, all of the above. Of course, the answer is C, grow and transform the business. Innovation is typically situational, so CIOs need to be authentic, reciprocal partners across the business to take advantage of these opportunities. Question number 4. The most frequently used technique to manage remote teams is using time management tools to track time spent on projects, holding regular team video meetings, C, running daily stand-up meetings, D, requiring long weekly reports. Of course, the answer is B, holding regular team video meetings. Video fatigue, though, has become a huge factor as the pandemic has worn on. But as businesses contemplate the coming hybrid work experience, there are going to be challenges too. Churn of workers, wrestling with how to deal with unvaccinated staff, or how to make sure remote workers still get FaceTime with senior leaders, just to name 3. Question number 5. During the pandemic, the greatest benefits realized on digital transformation investments came from A, security, B, big data and analytics, C, blockchain, or D, collaboration tools. The answer is D, collaboration tools, something that we've all experienced over the past year and a bit. IDC reports the user adoption of collaborative technologies accelerated by almost 5 years in early 2020, with an unexpected further 18% bump for each of the next 5 years. Now, wasn't that fun? Thanks everyone for playing and participating. Okay, there's still a little bit of work to be done before this afternoon session is over. It's time to make a senior leader in the public sector happy with the naming of the 2021 CIO of the Year in the public sector. I turn that job over to Amir Hamid, RingCentral's VP of Global Sales Engineer. Amir, if you would please do the honors.
Congratulations to all the winners. You will be able to find more detailed stories on each of their accomplishments in the ITWC publications and right here on the platform for the next few months. As a huge believer in innovation and the impressive leadership it takes to get any organization pulling in the same direction on change, RingCentral is pleased to help sponsor this event and shine a light on Canada's exemplary digital leaders. Successful CIOs are by their very nature agents of organizational change, and our 2021 CIO of the Year for the public sector is no exception. As the pandemic impacted every sector, this healthcare CIO responded with a trusted brand of patient-focused leadership and helped launch Canada's first virtual pediatric emergency department. Her organization's pandemic effort would not have been possible without this. It is my honor to congratulate this year's CIO of the Year for the public sector, Chief Innovation Officer for the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, Marie Teitelbaum.
The Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, or CHIO, is a global leader in pediatric healthcare and research. Marie Teitelbaum, CHIO's Vice President of Quality and Family Partnership, has been with the organization since 2014. But her journey to becoming a CIO and embedding herself within healthcare started a long time ago.
Was my mom as a radiologist, who I watched her struggle with the adoption of PACS, which is medical imaging technology. And they were having a really hard time, massive downtimes, massive learning curves. And I was an engineer by training and thought it's got to be easier than this. So essentially shifted into healthcare to apply all of my high-tech expertise in this sector.
Not unlike other large healthcare institutions, CHIO was a best-of-breed environment, meaning every part of the hospital had its own set of applications. Marie says when she started, there were up to 60 to 70 unique applications serving the entire organization. A single enterprise solution was needed, which is why CHIO partnered with Epic. The Epic system provides patients and their families with anytime access to their health information through an online portal called MyChart. MyChart was a radical departure from the manual and difficult to access systems of the past.
And then we did what we called our mini Big Bang. So the emergency room, our inpatient units, our pharmacy, our critical care units all brought onto the Epic platform, I want to say in 2017. And then finally our operating rooms were the last piece of the puzzle. And so we were very fortunate that we had this single foundation for the hospital before COVID hit, so that when we needed to make changes, we didn't have to make them in 40 places, we could make them in one place.
Marie is adamant that an enterprise approach is the one that is most likely to benefit patients. It's not about the solution providers and the brands that they work with. It's about a single record for the patient that they can manage whenever and from wherever they want to. Following CHIO's successful EHR implementation, SickKids Hospital followed suit. Marie collaborated with partners at SickKids and other vendors to create a unique shared model between the hospitals. This collaboration resulted in a savings of $18 million in the total cost of ownership. The virtualization of CHIO's services has also led to huge benefits for patients, many of which will remain in place long after the threat of a global pandemic.
I am quite overwhelmed by this recognition, which I don't actually consider a recognition of me, but rather of the team. From the IS eHealth team that has been doing the work over the past 5 years to create this platform. My executive team, the team I work with day in and day out, our chief of staff, VP nursing, the other VPs, finance as a huge partner, and of course my boss, the CEO of the organization. Obviously the front lines of the hospital. So those are the individuals that have been responding to COVID and who we were asking to work in entirely new ways. And also to families, to hear them talk about the role of virtual care and talk about how wonderful it was to feel supported safely at home has made a huge impact on our ability to make all of these changes.
Congratulations once again to Marie Teitelbaum for earning this year's CIO of the Year award for the public sector.
Congratulations, Marie. I see your friends and members of the hospital offering their best wishes in the chat. If you haven't noticed so far, I'll point out that all of the CIO winners today, this afternoon, have so far been women. Perhaps we're finally seeing the fruits of the efforts to build a more diverse technology workforce. Let's hope so. Let's move on to the final award of the afternoon and final award for the conference. Please welcome Nicole Filiatro, Marketing Director with our Platinum sponsor, UKG, to deliver some good news on the CIO of the Year award for the private sector. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Phil, for the kind remarks, and thanks as well to IT World Canada for giving UKG the opportunity to sponsor this important achievement. It is my honor to introduce a CIO who was hired just a few years ago to modernize the legacy IT systems for a market leader in the Canadian premium courier industry. A strong agent of change, this individual has led creative IT business solutions that span key organizational priorities and processes, such as customer experience, package visibility, delivery routing, client care, employee health, and safety. Also impressive, this innovator positioned the organization to step up and meet the critical needs of Canadian healthcare, businesses, and families during the pandemic. Hats off to Purolator's Chief Information Officer, Ricardo Costa, as CIO of the Year for the private sector. Roll the video, please.
Ricardo Costa is no stranger to disruption and digital transformation. The Chief Information Officer at Purolator and this year's CIO of the Year winner for the private sector has been modernizing operations and making delivery drivers' lives more efficient for several years. For example, with his leadership, Purolator removed the need to physically obtain signatures from people for those more sensitive deliveries through a new delivery app. This was a huge need during the roughest moments of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the past 12 months have also introduced a host of new challenges, including a shift to B2C customer needs as shipments from consumers and homeowners spiked to unprecedented levels. All this also meant changes to supply chain routes and transportation logistics, and on a more serious note, additional stress on drivers.
The customer behavior changed. E-commerce in Canada sped up very quickly. It went from 0 to 100 very quickly, much faster than most people expected. And that changed the way we actually deliver things. Our business was a lot of B2B, and all of a sudden B2B became kind of B2C from a delivery perspective. As people are now shipping things that they would ship to their offices, they're shipping to their homes. It might be a simple thing when you think about it, but it is a very different dynamic for delivery. I am not stopping at an office with 20 packages anymore. We're stopping at a house with one package, and then 100 meters later, another house. People might think our number one priority is to deliver packages, but our number one priority is health and safety. So, because if we don't have healthy and safe drivers, employees, there are no packages being delivered. That is our number one priority.
As the shift to business to consumer interactions increased, Ricardo quickly pounced on opportunities to partner with community leaders from the Ontario Centre of Innovation and B2B AI solution provider Sales Choice to design a unique AI health daily check-in app. The app is meant to help reduce stress among Purolator's frontline workers and allow them to decompress at the start and end of their day. As those workers input this daily information, headquarters can slowly identify patterns across its workforce. Ricardo cited an example of a driver noting through the app that he's had a bad day. Upon further analysis, the team might discover that the driver had spent the last 2 days hauling around treadmills. With that data in hand, staff can adjust schedules. Data analysis capabilities accessed through the cloud have also helped at the call center, he says. Recently, Ricardo and his team discovered through a few customer interactions that drivers in a very specific area had gaps in their training related to the final delivery of packages. While the health and wellness app is still in its early stages, it's been extremely well received by Purolator's frontline workers. On top of that, the process of replacing legacy IT infrastructure to help the courier become even more future-ready is well underway.
I really want to thank everybody who supported me. I was a little bit surprised when I got the notice that I won the award. Very humbled. I don't think I do anything other than have a great team and support a great team and enable people to do what they're best at. Really proud of what Purolator was able to deliver this year and how we were able to help Canada really push things forward and keep the economy moving a lot of times, as we like to say. So really proud of that, but proud of the team and the partners we have. I want to thank everybody who supported me, our partners, my great team, the IT world, the CIO Association as well. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Congratulations once again to Ricardo Costa for earning this year's CIO of the Year award for the private sector.
Congratulations, Ricardo, and congratulations to all of our 2021 CIO and digital transformation winners. That wraps up the conference for this year. I hope what you've heard has left you optimistic and energized about the future. I hope you've seen something in our award winners that you can emulate or apply in your own organizations. As you've seen throughout the 3 days, our role as tech leaders is changing. We're being given a bigger role in the corner office and working harder with the business in terms of improving operations and to drive growth. We're also the most likely people in our organizations to see the technology changes on the horizon that have the power to disrupt. We need to be aware and prepared to experiment so that we can be true leaders and not followers. Stories from the conference are available in the ITWC network of publications, and all videos of all the panels and presentations from the 4 days will be on the site here and available for on-demand viewing. Thank you to all who attended. Thank you to the team at ITWC that made it all possible. Thank you to the sponsors, IBM, Remini Street, Ring Central, SAS, and Shiny Dogs, Citrix, Jabra, and Silver Peak. Please complete the conference evaluation you will be receiving. It really does help us plan for better events moving forward. Details and registration opportunities for the ITWC flagship events are on the platform, but I want to highlight a few of them. The Canada's Top Women in Cybersecurity celebration is on July 28th. A MapleSec Satellite Summit with a focus on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence is slated for the 5th of August. Analytics Unleashed, a data-focused event, will take place on September 23rd. Be safe, have a great afternoon, and I hope to see you at a live or hybrid event very soon.